Well, it's finally push comes to shove for the Area Truck Series. With just 2 rounds remaining, this is the final round with 8 drivers participating in the Area Truck Series playoffs. Tonight, we eliminate 4 of those 8 competitors and set up our field for our 4-driver championship battle next week at Homestead, Miami. Welcome to Sim TV and the Area Truck Series. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Connor Horn for our penultimate race of the season. Connor, we head to Gateway, Worldwide Technology Raceway. This oblong-shaped racetrack has a lot of secrets tonight, but for just under 20 drivers, they're going to have to figure out those secrets pretty quick if they want to find success at this track. It's about 1.25 miles long.
And they're not going to have a lot of time to do it. Just exactly 110 laps tonight. The laps are relatively slow, but this race is still going to fly by with a pretty small field. We should see some green flag running, but like you said, the cut line is very tight, and you're going to have to make some moves tonight to be able to get above it. As we look at our points right now, David Weissart, via his win last week, locked in. Scioli 30 points above. He's all but good, but not quite done yet. Then the cut line gets spicy. Tom Bourne's up by 7, and then Hernan Slaughter tied on the cut line. That's going to get tight with Travis Beckner right there. Yeah,
we'll be following the points along tonight. Their live points look there on the right-hand side of the screen. Always interesting to see how things will transpire here throughout the evening as points get earned and points get lost in the battle of the championship. We saw it be a big factor last night at Richmond, and I'm sure it'll be the same on Thursday for the Florida State Builders Pro Series. But Brad Slaughter Jr., Cameron Hearn, 0 points separate them from the cut line. They're certainly not safe. The only one that is the 29 of David Weissart, and he sits on provisional pole as qualifying is underway for this 110-lap race tonight.
And we already have some times down, a little late after the Miata race at Homestead, which will be back to Homestead next week for all 3 series. Travis Beckner yet to put a time down. You'll see the top drivers lit up in blue, just James Scioli. Well, not just James Scioli. Lit up in blue, Scioli and Tom Bourne, the 2 drivers above the cut line via points. David Weissart's in green via his race win, and everyone in yellow is either tied on the cut line with Hernan Slaughter or below the cut line, likely needing a win, and no surprise to see the 7 on top of the pylon, but we'll see what Beckner can do.
Yeah, Travis Beckner, one of the drivers below that cut line who is still in the fight. You'll notice that tonight we've got 5 drivers lit up in yellow as opposed to the 4 that you'd expect based on my coloring scheme. Locked into the next round, you're green. Above the cut line, you're blue. If you're below it, you're yellow, but with the tie on the cut line, I've elected to color both those drivers yellow because neither of them are really above the cut line. They are technically both tied for below it, and I'm a glass half empty kind of guy, so we'll see how that pans out for the drivers. Here comes Beckner, though, out of the final corner. This is a 1-lap qualifying track as opposed to the 2-lap qualifying we have at the short tracks, and Beckner across the stripe at a 33.864.
Top the
good
board.
Enough for a pole. That's a good way to start the night.
And he's one who needs every extra point he can get. Coming in 2 below the cut line, that would put him 1 point closer to Cameron Hearn and Brad Slaughter Jr. And at that point, it would be even beating them at all. That would mean he's in over them. So huge point to get at this stage is Tom Bourne, after recovering after a speed penalty last week. He's 7 above the cut line. See where he slots in, 34.087. That's 7th. Not the best, but it could be worse. But you can see all those playoff drivers he might start behind. Then rookie Harden back on track.
Yeah, it's a small field tonight, though, so your tumble can only be so far. I also anticipate a lot of green flag running tonight, so with that, I'm not sure how much qualifying is really going to factor into the long-term date of this race. Brad Slaughter Jr., though, he is trying to warm up the tires. He hasn't gone green yet, but almost tore the truck up on this outlap. Oh, he's still sliding.
Yeah, I think he's going to stop. I think he was trying to weave to get heat in the tires, and he did a little too much, as we'll go back to Ricky Harden as the 8 warms back up. Harden across the line, 34.131. That's 9th out of the 11 drivers to go so far. Still waiting on Alan Elwood. He hasn't hit the track yet, but the 8's getting back on track himself.
Brad Slaughter Jr. on track. Jacob Bell on his 2nd lap. Heard that he recently spilled water on his rig, and it still looks like he's dealing with some issues there. See, the tire's moving, but the wheel is not. Interesting.
Almost looks like it's like, what do you call that when it's like analog steering? It almost looks like he's steering with
on
a controller.
He might be.
Yeah.
Again, he kind of fried his entire system, so.
Yikes.
Brad Slaughter Jr. again returning to pit lane.
Well, there's a way to warm them up in a short amount of time, and he's trying to get that down to a T, and he hasn't done it yet. So that's why he keeps resetting over and over as he's continuing to try to get out on track. So is Alan Elwood, who both of them are on the access road at the same time. As that 10 was he was very frustrated after last week. Caught up in the first yellow with, I believe, Garrett Grant, and lost a lot of points at the cut line. He might be in a must-win situation regardless.
Yeah, confirmation Jacob Bell is on a laptop and a controller. I've been there. It's not fun. So we'll see how he handles tonight. Did not get a clean lap in qualifying, so it doesn't appear that it's off to a very good start. As Elwood is going to finally take the green flag. Brad Slaughter Jr. has as well. Brad's a little ways up the road here, so we'll keep an eye on him first.
Still waiting on Mason Kay and Eric Wineland and Asogak and Senesac to put laps down, but these are the last two playoff drivers to go out, so important for these drivers to maybe go for pole, get that bonus point themselves, although for Elwood it might not matter, but for Slaughter it definitely might.
Through 3 and 4, looked a little loose in 1 and 2, didn't really have the stick that he needed through the first corner, so we'll see if it pays off for him or it will be a dud. 34-1, that's going to put him about 9th quick. Alan Elwood across the stripe, 34-025, goes 5th quick. Not bad. I'm sure he would have liked a bit better than that. And Bryce Senesac starts his lap.
We're going to see some different lines in the turn 1 all night long. We might see on the curb, we might see drivers up the track 2 or 3 grooves. You might see 4th gear all the way around. You might see drivers shifting at one end of the track. You might see drivers shifting all the way around the track. I think I did hear the 09 shift in turn 1. I believe he did shift once again.
Yep.
So we're going to see that all night long, even on the long runs, as long as we get one, which we should. So he'll come across the line. See how fast he goes, 34.109. He goes 10th.
Eric Wineland is in the middle of his lap right now. Off into turn 3.
And he is not shifting. He's one of the drivers trying not to shift. You can see him fighting the wheel from the camera. You can just see how much he's fighting it. Doesn't look like much, but it is.
I feel like shifting is something, as we see him do a 34 flat, puts him out 5th quick, I believe. The shifting, I imagine we'd see that change throughout a run, right? You might start maybe not shifting, and then by the end of the run, you might shift just to get a little more torque when you're slowing down a bit extra as the tires wear out. But we also see drivers doing it to get a bit more rotation mid-corner, but that's a dangerous game to play. You can loop the truck pretty easily doing that.
Yeah, and depending on what the tires do, we might see drivers do the opposite and maybe not shifting early, utilizing the tires, but then maybe not shifting late in the run because of how loose these trucks might get. As you look at the qualifying times, likely the results, Jacob Bell finished his attempt, and Asogak Kane not on track. Travis Beckner getting that bonus point that puts him 1 below the cut line instead of 2 coming in tonight. Big milestone, but he's going to be on the front row of James Scioli. We've seen these two get into it the past 2 weeks in trucks, so who knows what could happen.
Yeah, that's everyone remembers last week at Las Vegas. They got tangled together, so that is going to be interesting to keep an eye on as we look down the rest of the order. Again, pretty small field tonight. 18 drivers in total, so I'd anticipate a lot of green flag running, so that's something we'll have to keep our eyes on as well. Before we get into things, though, tonight, race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. For only $5 a month, you can watch all area broadcasts commercial-free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat and earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise. And race fans, start your engines with a fresh cup of Roasted Gems coffee. Choose from some of the finest coffee beans from Colombia and Peru, or try the blended flavors of French vanilla and hazelnut. Use discount code Area iRacing for 10% off your order at checkout at roastedgems.com. So qualifying is complete, and Beckner is on pole, as we mentioned before, and the warm-up is now underway. And as soon as this warm-up is done, we're going to go racing for 110 laps. And we look forward to Homestead next week. It is multi-groove. It is fast. This is, in many ways, quite the opposite, Connor. But I think turn 1 and 2 in particular are going to see a lot of different lines taken tonight throughout the evening.
I think so as well. I don't think we're going to really get an opportunity to see drivers beat and bang because we do have multi-grooves in that section of the track. You're going to see drivers along that curb, but be careful not to ride along that curb. It will jerk you sideways, and that outside wall comes up in a hurry. So got to be careful of that. Turns 3 and 4, different story, but you still might see drivers enter high, exit low, and some drivers just shortcutting, going to the very bottom in turn 3 as well. So I love a track that has multi-grooves and is not completely large. I think those are some of the best short tracks, although this is technically not a short track with how big it is and the straightaways are. Almost like a mini Darlington, if you can call it that.
Yeah, it just drives like a short track, right? I always think of Iowa as kind of in the same boat, where Iowa technically is a short track, but it kind of drives like a speedway. This is almost the opposite, right? It's shaped in its length like a speedway, but it drives a lot more like a short track. It's just longer straightaways in between. So certainly a unique racetrack on the calendar. We're going night racing here tonight as well, which should take away some of the temperature concerns that you'd have here in the tires. But still going to see some tire wear, still going to see drivers searching for grip as we get them gridding up here and ready to go racing. Let's kick things off with our starting lineup here, the Roasted Gems Coffee starting grid. Row number 1, it's Travis Beckner in the number 28, and James Scioli will start on the outside of that first row in the number 7 Chevy Silverado, Connor.
And then right on row number 2, Cameron Hearn, who comes in on the cut line. He'll start third ahead of some of his competitors. Alongside him will be the 2 of Greg Mitchell.
And starting in row number 3, it's Eric Wineland. Nice, strong qualifying effort for the 21. He rolls off 5th in his Ford F-150. Alan Elwood needs a miracle tonight. He starts 6th in the number 10 truck.
Yeah, he'll definitely need a win. Justin Munsell just looking to win to get something on the board this season. He's been fast, just hasn't been able to capitalize. He'll start 7th alongside David Weishart, who's one of the few drivers tonight who has not a care in the world.
And 9th place, row 5, it's Tom Bourne in the number 16, and then Bronson Stafford starts 10th in the number 61.
Bryce Senesac starting 11th alongside Brad Slaughter Jr., the reigning champion, starting well behind Cameron Hearn, who he will be racing tonight.
And in 13th place, it's Ricky Harden in the number 15 truck. Garrett Grant returns in the number 42 in 14th.
Grant will also probably need a miracle like Elwood. Then starting 15th, last driver put a time down. Bobby Tinch coming off a top 10 last week. And then Jacob Bell in the pits. He'll do 1 lap in Starton Park tonight. And then the final row will be Justin Asogak and Mason Kane, which will be our 17 truck field after the 77 start parts.
So trucks working their way down the back straightaway now. Connor, pick me a favorite tonight. I picked the 28 last night to win, and it immediately went south on me. But I like the 28. I think tonight he wins and gets in.
I will have to see. I'm worried about how he and Scioli might race. He's got to be smart tonight. I don't think he'll do too much, but I'm also going to go with Cameron Hearn. I think he's got the right blend of aggression tonight that he's going to need to win his way in.
Well, he's got playoff colors on board his truck as well, as the pace car is going to make that left-hand turn onto pit lane. 110 laps, about an hour worth of race time if we go green from flag to flag. Last night, as soon as I said that, there was drama. Tonight, though, the drama continues in the Area Truck Series, and we're underway. Look at the start for the 3 of Cameron Hearn, wasting no time. We're 3 wide into turn 1, Connor.
Oh, none of them are going to back out at all. Could get ugly. Hearn has to back out, but he's still trying to stick it up the middle. We usually do silent lap 1, no chance to do that, but Hearn has to stick back in as they shift off of turn number 2. Scioli has to run off the top.
Yeah, Beckner holding station on the bottom for now, entering turn 3. Strong line here. If he can lunge in here on fresh tires, he's going to have an advantage. Watch that rumble strip, though. It's easy to hook that and get turned around. They're still side-by-side. Spin behind him.
Brett Slaughter half spin, and he saves it. There won't be a yellow. That is huge for his chances, as it's Beckner leading lap 1 at the front.
And that's a critical lap lead for the points. Off into the first corner. Scioli ripping the outside lane, but he's way up the track. Is it too much?
I think he's going to get a good run. You could see him wiggling up there, though. Greg Mitchell just had to wiggle him.
Weishart gets tagged.
Oh, my gosh. The 2 that was from Tom Bourne. I don't think he meant to do that, but I didn't think we'd have drama, but it is tight at the front and at the rear. Scioli washed way too far up the track. Beckner's going to be clear for the lead, but the 7 does have a run off of turn 4, but he does have to tuck back in.
Wow, that was a frantic first 2 laps. They finally sort it. But here comes Scioli. He's not going to waste any time going back to the inside at turn 1. Oh, they almost touched.
I'm sure both of them remember last week. They might make more contact. They clearly are not done quite yet. Cameron Hearn, that was him. They just got to watch them be careful and just watch him here, as Eric Wineland's up the 4th. Strong run for him, but got to watch these 2.
Yeah, I would be not touching this with a 10-foot pole. Watch the 7 sliding up, the 28 coming down. It's fierce here, and you can tell these feelings are still bruised from the contact they had last week. The 28 trying to muscle his way by, the 7 still to the inside. Hearn's going to promote this fight here like Kevin Harvick in the Jeff Gordon and Brad Keselowski fight. Give him
If
a
I didn't
push.
have enough bad memories, I remember that very well. But this is also not just their drama together, but track position here. Wow, big wiggle from the 28. Track position is so important here. It gets very hard to pass on the long run. So this is part of that too. Obviously they have drama, but track position and being in the lead is going to matter a lot. Beckner gets back clear.
Is it for good for this time? Look, Scioli throttled up mid-corner and had a good run coming, but Hearn might be the thorn in his side here as they leave turn 4. Eric Wineland is also in this mixture. Scioli, another dive, but just changing lines here into turn 1 as Grant. And, whoa, Stafford and Grant get together. The 42's going to loop it, grabs Hardin, and he's going to spin.
And that will be a caution that time.
There it is.
It's got some pretty severe right side damage, too.
Well, given how hard the front runners were racing, I don't think it's all that surprising that we saw an accident. Maybe we're surprised it happened further back in the field. Here it is again. 42 just lunges in here. Drives it in really hard, and he just can't hold it down there and drives into the side of Stafford. And almost has it saved. Ricky Hardin.
Oh, that's where the damage came from.
Yeah. Snags him and turns him around. And while we're here, go back and see what happened to the 8. This is lap 1. Let's skip ahead here just a little bit. And what happened to Brad Slaughter Jr.?
Seemingly on his own. Looks to be inside of Stafford. Looks like
same thing.
Same thing, yeah. He just didn't really make contact though. I think he tried to stay off him, and that's why he half spun. But luckily for him, didn't get hit by anyone. Garrett Grant wasn't as fortunate.
So yellow's out early. I don't anticipate anyone coming to pit road yet, unless you've got damage. Ricky Hardin did come down pit lane. Garrett Grant did not. And
Garrett Grant will here.
Yep. Following Anna Sogak. And a handful of others, actually. Cameron Hearn
Brad Slaughter, yeah, Cameron.
Hitting. Interesting.
That is kind of interesting. Wonder if the tire was severe enough to do that, or maybe it's a fuel strategy in place. We'll see what the fuel is. Not quite sure. I would think if you split it in half, if it went fully green, 55 laps on one tank would be your avenue to halfway. So that would be a stretch. So could be some fuel strategy. It's the only thing I could think of. I would not think tires would wear enough for this to be the call.
Yeah, pit window should be about 58 to 63 laps, theory, and that would get us easily to halfway. So I don't know that there's a lot of leeway to pit early and be done, right? You're going to have to kind of split it halfway no matter what. Oh, Hardin just hit the wall in pit lane. Got snagged on it.
And he reset. I was wondering why he was back in his stall.
Well, watch this. Pulls out, and then there's a wall here at the end of pit lane. Stafford kind of squeezes him, and then, ooh, yep, there it is.
And he is our first other retirement because of that. I've never seen that.
Doesn't look all that upset, all things considered, but
I think, if anything, he's probably kind of laughing at himself.
Well, it's just like Fontana and Michigan also have pit lanes where you can get yourself into trouble if you're just hugging the wall. There's a curb at one of them. Pocono's got a nasty wall you can hit now, so got to keep your head on a swivel at all times.
Yes.
So Beckner and Scioli are going to get to rehash this.
Oh boy, we didn't have enough.
There is no love lost between these two. We saw that on full display. And it doesn't seem like it'll take a lot more for it to boil back over again.
Yeah, not looking like it. We already kind of saw it. Now the question is, was that all we're going to see? Because they raced each other very aggressively. My guess would be they're not done with it, but just have to find out.
And we got at least 2 laps more of yellow. We're going to step away for just a moment. Show you this coming up on Sim TV this fall. Back live here from Worldwide Technology Raceway for the Area Truck Series. Racked up and stacked up to go again. Ricky Harden out for the night with the crash on pit lane. Garrett Grant, the source of the yellow, restarts in 15th place. Everyone else on the lead lap. And we're coming back to the green this time through. And while we usually like to give everybody a silent lap one, I don't think we can until the 28 and 7 get separated. It is just too volatile between these two. And they're going to go back at it once more. Pace car peels off. 101 laps to go. And here we go. From Worldwide Technology Raceway, the Area Truck Series playoffs back underway. This time Beckner gets a nice clean launch. Nice restart there. A couple trucks in the wall out of turn 4 the last time around, Connor. But Beckner leads, Scioli second. They sorted it out a lot quicker than they did on the initial start, but still a fierce fight back here. Cameron Hearn, the first driver on a set of tires, putting him to good use here.
Yeah, restarted, I believe, 10th, so he's already up 3 positions as he just passes Mason Kane there. The contact was Slaughter and Bourne. They just didn't know they were 3 wide, but they made very slight contact as Beckner, as we see, away with the lead, and this time pretty clearly single file throughout the field.
Looking away laps in the early going here. And you mentioned how track position is pretty critical here. And I imagine Beckner's feeling pretty good about getting some clean air on the nose. He can focus out the windshield. But we know Scioli's really good at those long runs.
Yeah, it's been his bread and butter. We saw how much he pulled away from Weishart last week at Vegas before the crash happened, and I would expect him to be just as fierce and just as fast at this track as well. But we have a long way to go. We're all single file now, -1 battle with Munsell and Elwood. So we'll see how these drivers treat this long, and we'll see if Beckner wears him off. We'll see if Scioli really just lets him go until he finally is ready to pounce.
Alan Elwood on a mission tonight. Started this race in 6th. He's up to 4th. Kind of in a position where he would like to just win and have that stress over with.
Winning cures pretty much all stress, doesn't it? It's definitely got to be his one and only goal. He really doesn't have any other avenue into the final round. In Olmsted, Weishart and Munsell getting really tight there. 29 can race like that because he does have a win, so he doesn't need to really be too careful, but you don't want to make enemies as he really got close to the 6th there, and Cameron Hearn just trying to find which lane's going to go faster.
Yeah, Hearn thought he was going to take him 3 wide and thought better of it. Downshifting again. He can be pretty aggressive. He's got 10-lap fresher tires than everybody else. And I think the play's not terrible. The field's small tonight, Connor. You're only going to need to pit once for fuel. So why not come on down and get some tire advantage that allows you to make moves when others get stuck in traffic? I don't disagree necessarily with the concept. You just have to be careful later in the race when passing gets pretty tricky that you don't bury yourself for no reason.
Yeah, definitely going to have to be careful of that. So this is kind of your feel-out stage where you see how hard it is to pass and how much track position is going to matter. So this is also probably why Hearn did this as well, just to see is it going to be hard to pass at the end of a race, albeit the tire difference might not be as huge as we might see as Elwood pulls out for the top 3 position as he gets that position, but definitely a test here seeing how hard it's going to be.
Weishart kind of ran Greg Mitchell up the hill a little. You have to drive off into turn 1 pretty hard. Mitchell sideways right ahead of Brad Slaughter Jr., who lifted and saved both of them. It'll open up the door for Tom Bourne. I was going to say, though, that you have to drive into turn 1 pretty aggressively. You kind of diamond it. You drive in really hard, let the car or the truck wash up, and then turn down hard for exit. But that's while no one's doing it intentionally, it's kind of a rude line to run, right? Because if you have someone to your outside, you're shoving them up the racetrack in the middle of the corner, despite that just kind of being the line.
Yeah, definitely kind of how you have to maneuver turn 1, but You don't want to have to do it. Sparks go flying, bottoming out into turn 1 as well, so that'll be something that comes into play. But it is a really inviting corner for just kind of my cornering someone, kind of like you would in Formula 1, just shove them out of a race line and say, all right, this is my spot now. As we definitely might see that, especially once we get closer to the end, and maybe if these two get together, we might see that at some point between these two drivers up at the top too.
Yeah, Beckner and Scioli. Here's a little scrap formulating a bit deeper in the field. Mason Kane and Bryce Senesac in the 09. Up the inside at turn 1, and he does a nice job. But you see right there, mid-corner kind of washes up the whole lane. Bronson Stafford senses weakness in the 31. He might open the door into 3.
Mason Kane really struggling early on. Don't believe he has tires. Well, he did come from 18th after staying out, but he is starting to fall, and those tires are proving more of a factor early on than I thought they would, as Hearn is looking for 4th on Eric Wineland.
Yeah, I mean, the tires are definitely worth something, worth more than I think you and I both thought. But why take them? Why not? I mean, again, it's a small field and a lot more tire sets than you're going to need.
Definitely probably not going to use up all these tire sets. Got 4 extra ones tonight, and Hearn's down 1, but we saw last night, even though different track, the long green flag runs you can get will render any tire advantage you have or disadvantage you have kind of useless, and it won't matter. So especially with the lack of trucks we have tonight, facing a relatively green race coming up, definitely made sense for the Ford to try this, and it's working very well. He's already almost back to where he was. And
he's still running about 2 laps or 2/10 a lap faster than the leader. We're seeing about a half second of fall off, a little bit more than that now, 7/10 of fall off in just about 15 green flag laps. That's a lot more than I thought we would see, especially in a night race where you typically see less fall off in tire wear than you would during a day race.
Yeah, we'll see if that evens out, or maybe those 2 leaders will keep falling off at the same rate and everyone will just keep falling off, and he might have this advantage for the entire run, as even faster there than the 7 of Scioli, even passing Alan Elwood. So it's helping on exit, I think, more than anywhere else. We're seeing him really get a good launch even on only 4 or 5 lap fresher tires.
And despite the wear, a lot of times that wear tracks with a lot of tire wear, you'll see what we call comers and goers, drivers that are really fast at the start of the run that fall back and vice versa. Here, though, we're not seeing that so much yet. Everyone's just kind of stuck. And it seems like tires are the only way that anyone's really been making moves at the moment. It should be noted, though, that Cameron Hearn is the only one that's made significant progress from where he restarted.
Yeah, Slaughter and Bourne are still kind of back here, battling for this 9th position. Bourne got it taken back away from him by the 8. So definitely something to note. So good on pointing that. Really no movement besides Cameron Hearn. He's making this work all on his own right now. This is key, too, because that guy he's racing on the cut line, Beckner, is one of them. So he really does need to finish ahead of him here.
Yeah, really anybody in yellow that wins is bad news for all the others in yellow.
Yeah.
Out front, Travis Beckner continues to click away laps, and his lead is slowly expanding. It's about half a second now, and clawing away at about 200ths a lap.
And Beckner, Hearn was 2/10 faster again compared to the leaders, and really he was the only one in the 34-second bracket that time by. So that advantage is still there, and it's not going away. Looking at the points. Right now the cut line is tied, but it's not Hearn and Slaughter, it's Hearn and Tom Bourne right now. So Tom Bourne's got to get going at some point, because Cameron Hearn is clicking off very fast laps, and Bourne stayed in 10th, and Brad Slaughter Jr. has gotten away from him. He's gotten back up to 8th position, looking for the 29 of Slaughter. Yeah,
Tom Bourne we should talk about here for a moment, because he has averaged his way into a top 5 run here in the points. You really need to start putting up top 3s now, at worst, right? Wins, or you really want to be going into every race thinking that you can win or having a good shot to win. And we haven't really seen that out of Tom Bourne. So this is the put up or shut up night for the 16, because he could be eliminated if any of these other drivers, Hearn or Beckner or Elwood or Slaughter, win this race. He could be shuffled out depending on where those other drivers run. So no longer is he safe, and he's done about as much as you can do with just running well. You have to get up there and be scrapping for wins. And so far tonight, he just does not seem to have the pace.
Yeah, and this is kind of, oddly enough, the worst we've seen him as Stafford goes by Senesek in the background. We've seen him run top 5. I think he got, 7th last week after a speeding penalty after the craziness we saw at the end of that race. So a great recovery, knows how to get the finishes, but tonight it just does not look like he has anything to battle with, as we're still seeing that 8 get away from him. Maybe those tires finally kicking in, and he's finally starting to use them as he's now up to the 6th position. Why start trying to follow him through?
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned him getting the finishes, Tom Bourne. He has gotten the finishes, but the challenge is the finishes the requirements get higher as you move throughout the playoffs. And he's kind of landed in a good spot where there's been some trouble for some other drivers to where he didn't really have to improve their performances all that much to keep running well in the playoffs. But now, as I mentioned, it's go time. So we'll see if he can stick it out. But there's a lot of yellow ahead of him right now on the timing and scoring, 3 of which are in the top 5, Beckner included, the race leader.
Beckner is getting reeled in just a little bit since we last saw that. 7 has gotten closer, not to mention the 4 has reeled in both of these drivers, but his progress has been slowed the past few laps. That dirty air will play a little bit of a factor, even on fresher tires, and he might start to wash out here, but still does have the pace advantage, as these 3 have gotten well away from Alan Elwood, who's in his own world as well.
Yeah, good pace from the 28. I just don't know how long it's going to last, right? I mean, he's getting run down a little bit now. Cameron Hearn, his advantage is dwindling a bit, but he still is the fastest driver on the racetrack. So for Beckner, the challenge is if this is all the pace he's got over a long run, and this race goes green, he's going to have a hard time winning this race. But where he's at right now, you know, a medium length run, doing all right. Now you just have to play defense on a guy like James Scioli, who's won everything there is to win this season and all 3 of the aerial series.
You play defense on a guy who's already moved you out of the way for the lead 1 time, and you've already made contact with him another time. So that'll be a very interesting defense if he has to come to that, but has gotten away from Scioli a little bit through turn 1 that time, and might get to the point where that battle for second could get the 28 some breathing room here, as he's Hearn that is all over the back bumper.
Putting some pressure on the Rick's Hot Sauce truck.
Getting a good look at that code.
Use code Scioli at checkout on rickshotsauce.com. And we'll tell you more about them later, but the battle for the lead is on. And now, we saw at the start you could run side by side for a couple laps. Can you do that now, 30 laps in? We're a full second plus some off where we started this run on pace.
We took a look there very late on Scioli. I think he caught the 7 by surprise. We'll see some side-by-side right here. Scioli trying to pinch him as much as he can, but didn't pinch him too much, and he'll get a run. Wow, he'll get a run off of 4, but look at the side draft. Hearn's just going to pull him back into the corner. And he's just going to give it to him.
Yeah, big lunge there for the 4. And up and into second place he will go. So at lap 31, we've got a moment. Race fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver takes home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. The Rick's Hot Sauce truck running 3rd right now. That's James Scioli.
He's running 3rd, watching that 4 get away and chase Beckner. Elwood still 4th. Brad Slaughter's moved to 5th. Tapped the wall out of turn 4 last time by that 8 truck did, but no harm, no foul as he pulls away from Munsell. And the battle for 7th. Wyman's having a good run so far, but Weishart has been pressuring him the past few laps.
Staying in line. I think one of the reasons why this place tends to run fairly single file at moments is because it is also just hard to enter the corner so shallow and also complete the corner. You have to kind of arc it, and when you arc it, you have to follow the guy ahead of you. So here comes Weishart. He's going to dive in underneath. The 21 is going to carry some decent speed here. Has to lift mid-corner. Still has a nose in, but now loses the spot. And now here comes Greg Mitchell as well.
Yeah, just got a bit too high to be able to do anything off the corner, and that's part of it. Tough to stay out there. Once you get put out there. Big slide from Mitchell trying to stay to the bottom. It's also tough when you are side by side to stay off the guy on your outside. We almost saw that go badly there as that 4 truck battle continues to kind of maybe fade away as that battle for the lead starting to try to heat up. Hearn hasn't got really close to Beckner's bumper yet, but he has closed in the past few laps.
Yeah, his advantage in lap time has dwindled a little. He's still about a tenth faster, but it's not the massive overdog situation it was. I'm still surprised at how much wear we've seen, and I love hearing and watching Hearn downshift. You see the truck snap left as soon as he got that truck in the lower gear and let the clutch out, or I guess rev matched it. It kind of pops the car to the left because of that wheel spin in the rear. And that can wear your tires out a little bit, but some of it is also just rotational momentum from the transmission changing speeds. And in that case, it's not costing you a lot of tire, but it is helping you rotate the truck. And that's what's helping Cameron here right now.
Definitely getting him close to the bumper at the 28, but you can kind of see him inching up the track now. I think just looking for clean air on the nose and just turning it back down to get a better run off the corner, as this battle won't go away for 8th. Mitchell and Wineland very tight to one another, but that 21 starting to fade here as the run goes on.
Yeah, Wineland's wearing the tires out. Looks like he's lost quite a bit of pace. 36-second lap last time around.
Hearn almost looked like Hearn got to the bumper of Beckner there. He did middle 1 and 2, but lost some time on the exit as Wineland almost hit the wall there.
That was pretty close.
As long as you don't hit that opening down to the back straightaway. We've seen some wild wrecks in the real life truck series there.
Yeah, that is a nasty opening. I still don't really understand why it's there. Safety trucks can be on the inside too, but it is what it is.
That's another reason why Gateway's different as that battle goes on. Hearn that time by still faster than 28, inching in, but the fastest truck on the track last time by was that 7 of Skyly, albeit by thousandths of a second. So as this battle rages on, maybe that 7 starting to flex that long run speed. Muscles Wineland, he still hasn't hit it somehow.
Well, I saw him tag it just with the right rear of the quarter panel, just a little bit, some sparks flying, but not enough to do any damage. And it brings Tom Bourne into the mix.
And Bourne a point behind Cameron Hearn, so definitely a point he needs, albeit Hearn still hunting for the race lead, which would render that battle useless, as he'll go now to the bottom of Greg Mitchell to try to get that 9th position back.
Yeah, good fights beginning to brew now as the tires wear out.
Oh, man.
And we're still not quite in the pit window to the end. And I still think as soon as that window opens, they're not going to come immediately down to pit road. You're going to give it a couple of laps. So Greg Mitchell loses 9th to Tom Bourne. Let's go back to the lead. Truck length and a half.
He's right there. Hearn's really pushing the issue on entry. It's letting Beckner get back away on the exit, but Hearn gets some clean air on the nose through 1 and 2. Beckner's kind of washing up, I think, because of his tires. He's giving the 4 that bottom, which might not be the best move, but he is still getting good exits, as once again, last time by, that 7 is the fastest truck on the track.
We're going to learn a lot by following the 28 here. Mid-corner. Looks pretty well balanced in 3 and 4. You see him build that little bit of a gap, but it's 1 and 2 that I'm going to imagine he has the biggest struggle in comparison to the 4. Let's watch how he dives in here. Dives in pretty hard.
Hearn didn't get the bottom that time, or at least he didn't get to it. But he does still close in, but you could see him wiggling as well as Beckner.
Yeah, and Beckner is just chasing the grip. He's not sliding per se, it's just a kind of a loose wiggle, right? You're not, the rear end isn't laterally skating across the track. It just kind of wants to do that, and you're quickly correcting it as you're putting down power, and so it gives it that kind of sideways shimmy effect. And that's a sign of having a lot of horsepower on maybe not enough tire grip left, but it's not necessarily destroying your tires like a big lateral slide would that would lays down tire tracks.
These two continue. Just definitely looks like that advantage is gone for Hearn, but he was still maybe half a tenth faster that time by. It's just so tough to get to that point where you can attempt the pass with the dirty air the way it is, especially through 3 and 4. If 3 and 4 maybe had a little bit more banking to make a higher line work, he could do it, but being planted at that bottom, no matter what he does in 1 and 2, he kind of loses it back in 3 and 4.
Yeah, what I'm learning is that Travis Beckner's defense has been really good so far. 42 laps on older tires than Cameron Hearn, who came from a long ways back on those fresher tires and stalled here. And Travis is still running pretty respectable lap times. That time through, he was the fastest driver on the track, despite all the drivers that have taken tires. So he's still got some game left in this 28.
This battle for the lead's kind of subsiding. Hearn once again trying to enter 3 high and exit low, just not carrying enough of a run there. As one of the other battles on the track is still for that 9th position. Tom Bourne still, he's getting away from Greg Mitchell a little bit. Real battle's actually for 10th. Bronson Stafford's climbing through the field now.
Stafford and Mitchell not quite clear of each other into one. Mitchell keeps some overlap and loses it finally.
These guys are sideways off of turn 2. Definitely the trouble spot is turn 2 because of that drop in banking. It just flattens out all of a sudden. I think that's what's catching these trucks out of whack. As Bourne, as it stands, tied with Cameron Hearn, as Hearn still stalks the leader Beckner. Slaughter at this point is 3 back, and he's in 5th place chasing down Alan Elwood.
Yeah, Elwood's got decent pace, and he's had decent pace all year, but it hasn't necessarily been dominant pace. He's always in the top 3, always in the top 5. But again, as in the case of Tom Bourne, that's just not going to get it done in his situation tonight. So he's really got to push and get everything he can get out of it.
But this is kind of what we saw from him last year, right? He didn't win that much. He only has the 1 win this year at Martinsville, but that last year, he was able to get to Nashville, was the finale last year, and he was able to steal it, basically. He's trying to do that again, but I think more stiff competition to work with as far as pointing in this time. Like after all the drama at Vegas, he got caught up in that. It just made the cut line too tight for him to have another top 5 race and call it a day and get the homestead. He's going to have to do a lot more with Hearn and Beckner 1-2. As speaking of that, Hearn is on the bumper now.
Yeah,
he is actually getting him a little bit, but I think he tried to hit him a little bit, but he actually lost a bit of time doing that. As Scioli is reeling these 2 in. Last time by just a touch faster.
So we're closing in on 60 laps to go as well. And as soon as we hit lap 50, I would expect that pit window to be open. And that window will last probably about 15 laps where you'd want to come down pit road. Actually, it'll be less than that because you can only go about 63 laps. So about 10 laps from 50 to 60 is when I'd expect to see most everyone hit pit lane. Maybe slightly different for Hearn, but the fall off is enough. I don't think you want to lag too far behind, but with long green flag runs anticipated, Connor, the overcut strategy, pitting later and using those tires up more at the end might be a pretty good strategy to try.
We might also see drivers undercut just because of how important track position is. Beckner's still able to defend off Hearn and Scioli. Scioli lost a lot of time pushing the center that time, as he'll drop back to Scioli a little bit more. As undercutting might be the strategy to get track position, but look how far away these top 3 are. They are about 3 seconds ahead of Elwood, who continues in 4th. So for really anyone Elwood on back, undercut's not going to do you much but hurt you for the end of the run. So you almost have no choice but to wait for those leaders and try and overcut.
4 of the top 5 are playoff drivers that came in tied or below the cut line. What does that show you about rising to the occasion, Connor? They are all showing up to fight, the exception being Garrett Grant, down in 14th place with that spin he had earlier. He has not recovered very well.
Yeah, must win pretty much anyways coming in tonight, and the points total right now shows that, and that damage on the right side getting clipped by Ricky Harden really hurting him. Unfortunately, well, the cut line's working now, but you can see Bourne and Hearn still tied because this fork truck cannot get around Beckner, but also Bourne has yet to get to Eric Wineland, and he has not really gotten away from Bronson Stafford as well. So if Hearn can't get this 28, it will be tight, but he's getting into a bumper of him now.
Yeah, I think his patience is going to run out a little bit, and it's dragged Scioli right back in because they're slowing each other down. So Scioli was the quickest of the front trio, but nobody has been faster than any of these 3 the last couple of laps. Fastest truck is on the track.
And it shows on the interval. They are clearing away from Elwood and Slaughter. I thought Slaughter would pass the 10, has not been able to. So you got the top 3 and then the second 3. Justin Munsel's in 6th, keeping pace, but I think we're starting to see Hearn get aggressive. Like you said, his patience is out, and he sees that 7 in his mirror. He's got to go. Big slam there, but Beckner does not budge.
Well, game on. Laid the first punch, and you can't get upset if you get one taken back to you, but both of these drivers have a lot to lose.
Another, talk about bonus points all the time. Another key bonus point here is most laps led. Travis Beckner is about 6 laps away from locking that up. He's led all 50 so far as he gets away from Hearn once again there. So that would be another huge bonus point. Then that would then put him that point, another point above the cut line if he were to lose that lead. But as you can see, obviously, as he's leading, he'd be locked in. So there would be no need for the bonus point.
So 51 laps complete of 110, so there's 60 laps to go. I think this opens our pit window. We'll see when drivers begin to hit pit road. I imagine in the next 3 to 5 laps we'll see the majority, and then maybe some drivers trying to roll that overcut. The alternative to the strategy you proposed, I think we'll see a couple of drivers do each.
Starting to see some moving up in the background. Tom Bourne tried to run the middle in turns 3. I'm surprised Bourne struggling as Hearn back to the bumper back there, but not quite able to really hit him that time. That 16 struggling long run more than I thought is not closed in on Eric Wineland, and he is falling back to Bronson Stafford and Mason Kane. So not the run he needs right now, but this top 3 fight is too volatile to give up as Scioli looks to the outside now.
Yeah, he drove into 3 pretty hard. And he definitely wants to capitalize on the 28 getting kind of jacked up out of the groove.
Here we go.
Well, the 4 is going to chase him over, and Beckner has to leave him the space, but Hearn...
Oh, he hit him.
Oh, I thought he thought better of it, but he didn't. He ran him into
man.
the rear bumper. That was surprising.
He hit him, but it really hurt him more. You could see how much he slid on the entrance to 1 trying to hit the brakes, maybe too much rear brake, and that's more helpful for Scioli, and Beckner gets back away.
Yeah, that was a weird one. I don't think he intended on making that pass, so he tucked in, and Beckner was maybe going to lift early and cross him over mid-corner to exit, and brakes maybe a little too early and caught Hearn by surprise, but we're going to go at it again. Lap 54.
Yeah, he has to get back to his bumper once again, and interesting to note, last time by, the new fastest truck.
He
hit him hard that time. But that hurt him a lot more, and here comes Skyler, who's going to get by him here, maybe. I was about to note Elwood now the fastest on the track because of that.
Hunter becomes the hunted. Here comes Scioli. Whoa, and Scioli's...
Oh, he's going to pit.
Yeah, that was a great call, I think.
I think so, too. I think that's perfect. Undercut, getting fresher tires, and the track position is going to matter a lot. So that's going to pay off for him as more drivers pitting. Pretty much everyone. Slaughter, Munsell, Weishart. The 21 of Weiland was in the lap before. Also Mason Kane. So this is opening up the strategy for sure.
Yeah, they're dying for tires, right? Halfway through this race for a lot of the drivers. They haven't been on pit road yet. They're struggling for grip. Beckner and Hearn, who's going to outlast the other now?
I think if I'm Hearn, you're not going to get the bonus point for most laps led. And Beckner's going to take it. He's going to get the advantage. I'm kind of surprised he did that, but also I think he saw the 7 and everyone else come in. He can't give up that much track position. As Hearn stays out, he'll be the next driver to get a bonus point for leading a lap. Only the second one other than Travis Beckner.
So Beckner is 1 lap short of locking up that point, but I don't think the only other driver that would be able to do it would be Cameron Hearn if he led every lap from here on out, which is not going to be possible.
No, but that is big because it does put Hearn, give Hearn that extra point over Tom Bourne no matter what happens, as he'll immediately get back in to take some tires.
Yeah, that tells us that I don't think drivers have a lot of extra time to run on the tires or the fuel. Elwood's going to stay out. He'll be the last driver to stay out on the track, trying to find some kind of pace for the second half of this race.
And that does pretty much lock up most laps led for Beckner.
And so here's the 4. Still yet to complete his pit stop. Here he is into the box. And where's Beckner? Back straightaway.
Back straightaway, and notably behind James Scioli, so he'll have to try to chase him down with only a lap fresher tires.
See the 7 out of final corner. This is going to be a couple seconds worth of loss for Cameron Hearn. There goes Cameron. He's going to leave pit lane now, but Scioli and Beckner already go by. Only 1 lap difference. I think you're right. Undercut was the way. I don't think they had enough extra laps of fuel in the tank to get a significant enough overlap to do that overcut that I mentioned earlier.
But he will still come out in front of Brad Slaughter, which will help him out. Or yeah, Brad Slaughter by a decent bit. So he will have fresher tires, and he will have a look at these two, as Beckner does close in on Scioli, trying to make that tire advantage up now. And Alan Elwood, we were talking about the way overcut earlier. It seems he's going to be the only one to try this, as no surprise here, he really has to try something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it, but you're going to have to be really fast that last run. Kind of got shuffled out of the way by the 8 there a little bit. You see the focus on in his eyes. and he's struggling for a rear grip now, especially in comparison to everyone else.
Almost slapped the wall there, coming down out of turn number 2. We'll see how long it takes. It won't take long. He'll come in now, so that will fully cycle things out as Beckner has already chased down Scioli. Scioli trying to save some tire. Beckner trying to take the lead now. This did not work out last week.
Well, Scioli is pretty good on points. He's playing defense right now for the 28, because should the 28 win this race, they will do battle in a championship together next week. That's the last thing Scioli wants after how they've had their run-ins this season.
Yeah, I don't think he wants that to go to Homestead, no doubt, but he might not have a choice. Beckner's going to look low. Almost gave him a bumper, but he did lift and give him that leeway, as last time by Hearn was a touch faster, but still well off these two, as still waiting on Tom Bourne also trying. He's also trying a overcut. He's still to pit, as well as Anna Sogak and Bronson. Just Anna Sogak, Bourne and Anna Sogak. Stafford just pit.
Got 30 minutes of racing remaining. It's going to go by quick. Scioli and Beckner, these two are not friends when it comes to racing on the racetrack. They've had run-ins as recently as last week. And Beckner is, well, I was going to say he hadn't hit him yet, but there's one shot. That's the warning shot.
I was about to say the same thing. One shot, I'm there. 2 shots, I'm faster than you. 3 shots, you're probably not going to get away with the 3rd shot. So Scioli's got to be very careful. I think he is faster long run than Beckner. I think if he just, honestly, you might let him go here and just save your tires and then get back by him. But that might be hard to do because of Cameron Hearn.
Well, they both know that Cameron Hearn's going to be quicker on the long run, so maybe not an opportunity for Scioli to just get pushed over by Beckner, because that's a buffer car between himself and the 4.
We'll see how much he wants to keep that buffer behind him, and we're also going to see how hard Beckner wants to push the issue here, quite literally push the issue here. He'll dive into turn 1, no bumper here.
Oh,
dives inside, gotta be careful.
Makes me nervous. He's going to push up mid-corner, pulls even, and this is a rehash of the opening laps of this race where they fought door to door for 2 or 3 laps.
And it's also a rehash for Cameron Hearn. You can just sit back and watch them hurt their tires doing this. Beckner giving him no room entering turn 3 as he's going to try to force the issue. Watch that right rear.
Outside lane, though, should get the run here, but Scioli's going to get cleared. Nicely done by Beckner, but Scioli not done yet. Crosses over, looks left.
But I think that's what Beckner wanted. I think he wanted the leverage on the top side. Oh, he's dove it in hard. Going to be tough. They're going to make more contact.
Oh, they're going to crash again, just like last week, but they save it this time. And here comes Cameron the 4 of Cameron Hearn.
And that is exactly what Cameron Hearn wanted. Thank you. I will take that.
That was a gift. Yeah, the 7 just drives in here, runs the 28 up the hill, and Beckner was convinced on right rearing him into the outside wall, but the 7 saved it and pulled back left.
Last week it was, I think, Beckner pinching too hard. That time Scioli just decided, I'm diving in here, you're giving me the room or we're crashing. And somehow they didn't crash. Beckner did a great job keeping it out of the wall, but now instead of going to 1st, he's now back to 3rd.
And both of them know that if they retaliate, then they'll be parked for the season. So you have to tread lightly here. Obviously, there's some frustrations that have boiled to the top the last couple of weeks. You can't blame either of them. They both probably stepped over the boundary a couple of times. But how do you deal with it without getting overheated in the moment and doing something you're going to regret that takes you out of a title fight?
You beat him straight up. You beat him on the racetrack fair and square without any contact. That's how you get back at someone for doing that. You just got to run faster than them and got to show the other person that you will not let them get to you, pretty much. You just got to be strictly business is what Beckner or Scioli have to do. As Anna Sogak, who was the leader, finally pulls off, this will finally cycle the lead to Cameron Hearn.
So with Cameron Hearn, he does not have enough laps remaining to get the most laps led. So for Travis Beckner, that will solidify him as the driver with the most laps led in this race. So that's a critical point, because no one else can get to 54 laps led with the totals that have been run. And Hearn pulling over. What's going on there? Cameron Hearn just pulled over.
I don't know. That is interesting. He clearly had the lead, and he's going to give it to Scioli and also let Beckner through. I'm wondering if he's going to want to watch the battle again, or is there a strategy points-wise to that? There's got to be something going on there.
Yeah, that's odd. Maybe just let these guys run their tires off. Maybe he just doesn't want to set the pace, which I can see as a valid concern, right? If you're setting the pace, you might be burning up more tire than you need to. You know these guys are going to fight. Let them fight.
Yeah, why not, I suppose.
Oh, Beckner really sideways into 3.
Oh, he sees that code. He's pretty much like, all right, I don't like that code. It doesn't give me enough money off. I'm gonna hit it. That would be my excuse, at least.
Tired of reading it.
Yeah, I don't think he's the only one in that sense.
Before we get too late in the broadcast here, race fans, be sure to visit simwrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use and help you stay more focused on the racetrack, perhaps focused enough to run for a title. 3 of the top 4 are below the cut line, or at least they were coming into the night in the playoffs. And all 3 of those could win this race, although I think the 28 and the 4 would be my favorites of the 3 that I mentioned. And Scioli sitting pretty on points for the most part, provided he doesn't have another disaster.
Burns not let these 2 go after letting them go. He has gotten right back behind Beckner and just getting on the bumper. Maybe he's just trying to, I don't know, let the 7 get away and toy with Beckner a little bit. We'll have to, if he finishes top 3, we'll ask him about it, but I'm sure he won't give an answer as he's now pressuring the 28 like he never passed him.
I mean, the 4 is racing the 28. He's not so much racing the 7, right? Because Scioli's been above the cut line. The 4 and the 28 are directly in competition with each other. So this is part of understanding who you're racing and how you have to race them. I still don't think I can justify in my brain why you'd pull over and let them go unless you were just going to toy with them and play that mental game, which we know Hearn is pretty good at playing.
The problem is they're not safe if Tom Bourne or Brad Slaughter. If Brad Slaughter catches them, he's not safe. And if Tom Bourne, who did the overcut, gains more positions, he's 12th right now. He gains 3 positions. He will pass Hearn, and he will be tied with Beckner. So it's shocking that he would risk that. But that's kind of what he's done here as the 88's starting to catch these guys on fresher tires. We'll see what role he plays.
Yeah.
Beckner's sideways.
That was a bit of a moment. And Scioli is eking away. It's about 2.5 tenths of a second, but it's not getting smaller, it's getting larger. And I think a lot of that's the 28 looking in the rearview mirror, worried about the 4 rather than the 7.
It's got to be some sort of mental game, and I think it is taking a toll on Beckner as Scioli starts to scoot away just a little bit. The 4 even looks to be inside just a little bit to make sure Beckner sees him in his mirrors and all that. Meanwhile, at the back, we will maybe have to think about Alan Elwood. He did the overcut, and he was faster than Scioli by 0.2 of a second. But is that going to stay that way, and is it going to be enough time for him to get there?
So we've had some other battles throughout the field. Here's another one that we're watching, Mason Kane and Greg Mitchell, but the front one has been compelling tonight between these 3, Scioli, Beckner, and Hearn. No matter how it pans out, it has been the show this evening.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Show's not quite done yet as we thought 7 was getting away. Beckner did get back to him, and we'll see how much Scioli wants to pace himself here because he's already kind of gone aggressive once. If Beckner has another shot at that bumper, he will take it. So got to be careful of giving him a little bit of time here.
Well, and Cameron Hearn is sitting in the catbird seat once again like he was for that first run at him. He knows if these front 2 collide, he's going to go by. He knows if the 28 overheats his tires chasing the 7, he's going to go by, or if the 7 runs his tires off trying to run away from the 28. Cameron Hearn has put himself in a pretty good spot to spectate all of this. I think I would rather have it in my rear view than out the windshield, just in case, but still in the mix.
Yeah, I'll definitely have it out the windshield. As looking at Alan Elwood, he is up to the 4th position, just past Brad Slaughter Jr. Going to be all for nothing because it was winning in, but he's definitely giving it a go. I think this overcut is going to be a net positive time-wise for him.
Beckner has, as you mentioned, eaten that lead back. And I think Beckner's been pretty good on that middle length run, which is kind of what we're approaching now, 19 laps in. Lap 20 to 30 on his first run was pretty stout. He was running some of the fastest laps of the field, sans Cameron Hearn on fresher tires at that point. And it appears to be the same tonight, or the second run, I should say, as well.
And looking looking good so far. The only difference this time is he has a little bit more dirt. He has a lot more dirty air on the nose, probably hurting those front tires more. And the rear tire is likely staying the same because Hearn hasn't been all over his bumper like that. So definitely going to start to pay the price, I would say, in the next 10, 15, maybe 20 laps. So if he wants to get back by the 7, he's got to do it now. And he's going to have to think about how he wants to do that. As once again, last time by, Alan Elwood was the fastest driver out of those top 4.
And Beckner, is he willing to lay a bumper here? He's been run into a couple of times tonight. We haven't really seen him on the offensive yet, and maybe that's as a result of last week.
I don't know how you don't get back into his bumper with how aggressive. I mean, he had the pass done, and Skyly drove it in so deep. It kind of forced him into a give me the spot or crash situation. So something's got to come. But also, Beckner's probably thinking about the incident from Vegas, and was that my fault? Should I not be as aggressive and go back at him? I'm sure all that's in his head right now as he's trying to chase him down.
It's certainly in Scioli's head. And maybe for Scioli, he's thinking, he's going to do that to me again, so I got to run. Especially after what I did to him in this race. But it's the mental game, right? This is how you win championships, is you have to come out of those mental games on top. And you can't let it bother you too much. And you got to shake it off and continue. And as far as I can tell, Beckner's doing a good job of shaking off what happened earlier. He's had the opportunity to just overdrive the corner and run into the back of the 7 a couple of times. He hasn't done it yet. I suppose every day is a new day. Every lap is a new lap, but not yet.
I just think if he doesn't get him now, that 7's going to start to start to get away, because we saw him on the long run last time. He reeled in those top 2. I'd be shocked if he didn't pull away from Beckner and Hearn here if Hearn can't get by the 28.
Oh, I just heard an engine spire. Maybe it was Bobby Tinch on pit lane?
I think so. He's been there for a while. Yes, that was his.
Big boom. And Cameron Hearn, again, just sitting and waiting. Not playing offense here. I mean, it looks like it. At times, he looks like he's going for a pass, but he's lifting and braking and not going all the way with it.
And he's shoving Beckner down the straightaways as he'll once again look to the inside. Did he go this time? Yes, he will.
Yeah, he's got a decent enough run. He's going to take it. Beckner's going to hold him down there a little bit.
Now, this is where you got to be careful. These two are in on points right now. Oh, that was really tight. These two are in on points right now. Tom Bourne has not made up much time on Mason Kane for 11th, so got to be careful. Beckner probably doesn't know the situation, but you got to... Oh, he's going to get hit there. This might continue.
And Cameron has been... If you're tallying points right now, Cameron's had a couple of pushes, and Beckner hasn't returned the favor yet. And maybe he's trying to stay on the good side so that when he finally flips, it's not going to look so bad.
Hit him again here, though, if he can, out of the corner right there. Bam, bam, just going to lay on him out of the corner. Definitely looking to let Skyler get away coming to 30 laps to go. You got to wonder, if you're playing games with Beckner and he doesn't make the Final Four, he will remember that next week.
Well, that's what I'm curious about, right? Is Cameron just toying with Travis to get him to flip or to get him to do something rash and thus take himself out? I don't know. I mean, it's clear Cameron is getting in Travis's head, or trying to at least. And Scioli, he's thrilled driving away from both of them.
He'll say, thank you, Cameron Hearn. You could have won this race, but thank you for giving it to me. That's pretty much what it's looking like now. And don't look now, but Elwood is creeping into the picture. He is not fast enough to get Scioli right now. Scioli, he was not much faster then, but he is still maybe about a 10th faster than 2nd and 3rd right now, so it will be all for nothing. He needs a win, but that could shift the picture for Hearn and Beckner if he catches those two and Bourne makes some passes.
Into turn 3 again.
Another,
oh, that was a big one.
Okay. This is definitely mind games at this point. Hits him again out of the corner, and Elwood loves this. Well, not Elwood loves this, but Tom Bourne will love this because he'll have new life.
And here comes Cameron down to the inside, and this is where, Beckner drove in there hard. This is where Travis Beckner's got a bigger picture.
But is he going to be able to realize that before it's too late? Because Hearn will not stop hitting him until he's either by him or wrecked at this point.
He's had opportunity to go by him. I think it's just purely mental here. If he wanted to pass him, I think he would have done it by now. Oh, there's a bigger
This is
movement.
only going to end badly. There's no other ending for this. They are bleeding time to the 10. Elwood could catch him. Brad Slaughter could catch him as well in Munsell. He's trying, I think, to put Beckner back there, I think.
You also have to wonder, I mean, when is it too much? I think it's getting to that point for Cameron where you've made your point. You know, I think at some point you just gotta race, but time will tell.
I think with how he's ruining Beckner's rear tires, I think he can get by him at any point he wants, but he is trying to lose him time. Elwood, Slaughter, Munsell, all 2-3 tenths faster.
Across the stripe, running out of laps. About 15 minutes of racing to go. Scioli leads. And remember where we stand on points. Scioli's already above that cut line. He's won 5 times this season. Beckner has won only once. And the 4 of Cameron Hearn has won twice. Elwood has won no times back in 4th place.
He's going to need it to advance right now. Well below the cut line, even in running 4th. As that cut line still shows Beckner up 3, Hearn up 2, Tom Bourne back 2. And trying to see Brad Slaughter Jr. is also in the points game. He's back 3. And there's not really anywhere the 8 can go unless Elwood and Elwood and him get stacked up behind this game for 2nd right now.
Well, Cameron finally had an opportunity and went with it. Now does Travis do anything? Yes, he does. Drives in there hard. Pushes the 4 up the hill.
This won't end well. This will get him put in the wall and out of the final 4. Watch in the turn 1.
Ooh, that was really
seen that
close.
Before. Seen that before.
Here we go
Let's
again.
see what we see here.
Oh, this time he's going to go high.
And Elwood is just within a 1.5 seconds.
Gloves are off here, folks, for 2nd place for a championship. Tony Stewart said he'd wreck his mom. He'd wreck your mom. I think these guys are about to wreck each other, though. There's another hit.
Yep. And then this gives Beckner another shot at him.
Beckner is going to struggle to get the power down, but he did
he's going to put the power down on entrance here.
Off into turn 1. Here it is. Well, that was a big lunge, and the 4 dives out of the way.
Hearn, this is Beckner getting caught in the mind games right now, and he's going to get turned for it. Nope, he saved it, but he's getting caught in the mind games. Elwood is going to get there, and you cannot forget about Slaughter and Munsell.
All 4 of 2nd through 5th we're below the cut line. The 28's going to get turned way sideways.
There it is. He's going to spin. That's going to be the yellow right there.
There's the caution. And I guess I get it, but I think Cameron Hearn has stepped over a couple of lines at this point. I mean, how many times do you have to hit him? I mean, what is the expected outcome of that kind of
You're not going to – that only puts Hearn in a bad situation because you give Tom Bourne – Tom Bourne was not going to pass Mason Kane. That gives him an opportunity to get positions here. It hurts Beckner, yes, but it hurts Hearn as well. I get playing mind games, wanting to get a point across, but that's only going to cause you trouble here.
Yeah, I mean,
no sense in that.
I got it the first 5 times, but after a dozen times and messages sent back and forth, I guess I don't understand how that's not getting you parked. And what we saw at Las Vegas in the Cup Series race is a park. Obviously, the ferocity is different, but the outcome is the same, and that was an intentional wreck as far as they go.
And Hearn came out of the radio saying, I tried to race it clean. Next week should be fun. When did he race him clean? And when did Beckner do anything dirty tonight?
Well, I mean, Beckner did retaliate, but
after
after how many times, right?
How many times did Hearn hit him? 2 dozen?
Yeah.
I mean,
over the line for sure.
Not to mention, Hearn will get blamed for the wreck here, and he will go to the tail end.
Yeah. What good did that do for you?
It puts him in a hole, and it makes him have to gain a lot of positions on Tom Bourne. I don't get it, but we got pit stops here. Oh, and I was about to mention what strategy we see. Alan Elwood takes 2 tires.
I like this call. I like it a lot.
I like it too.
I mean,
I think it was his only position, only chance.
You weren't going to win doing what you were doing. I mean, Alan was quick, but it wasn't going to be quick enough.
No, but I do love this. I think it's perfect. You got 20 laps to go, and you have a chance to hold off. You give yourself a chance to hold them off. I don't think he was going to win this playing offense, even with everyone on 4 fresh tires. So I think this is the right decision, as Hearn will go to the back, and now he will have to really drive hard.
The thing that makes the least sense to me is that did him, like, it didn't do him any good in the long run, right? He's going to have to start at the rear of the field. Beckner managed to just loop it and continue, and he'll stay 4th. So, I mean,
and get fresh tires.
It was just frankly dumb as far as, I mean, look, there's a rule in racing about if you're going to wreck someone, at least learn how to do it without wrecking yourself. But I think that extends beyond the actual crash into the repercussions of it. If you're going to do something that hurts you more than the guy that you're trying to hurt, then maybe you shouldn't do that thing. But I guess we've spent enough time on that point now. But yeah, I mean, I don't get it. It could cost him a shot at a title.
Maybe we're seeing how much he cares about the truck series. I mean, I don't want to be that guy and say that he doesn't care, but I mean, clearly if he's willing to give up a chance at a truck title to just toy with him next week. What else can you chalk that up to?
I mean, who's stoked is James Scioli. Not involved in the drama this week, just driving away, and now he's going to have more tires than Elwood does, so I think he's still feeling pretty good in this 19-lap or 18-lap run to the end here. So the next question becomes, do we go green from here to the end? And my spidey senses tell me we might get at least one more wreck.
I'm just really interested to see Elwood here on this restart, because this is literally all or nothing when he gets to restart with 18 laps to go. He has no choice but to hold that 7 behind him. It's going to be fun to watch him defend, and it's also going to be fun because we still have Beckner and Scioli bumper to bumper here. So if those two get back together, that could let Elwood get away, and then you still got to think about Brad Slaughter Jr. He's going to be in a bad spot, I believe, if Elwood wins. He's going to have to figure something out himself.
Well, 1 to green here before we get back green. Race fans, be sure to check out shop.areairacing.com for merchandise to represent your favorite drivers and teams. Shop from our brand new selections of champion t-shirts, jackets, hats, and more. Easier to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. That's shop.areairacing.com. So doubled up. It'll be an 18-lap run to the end. And Connor, how's our points looking? Are they updated?
It's updated and it's looking tough. That puts Hearn 10 back, so he's gonna have to hustle. With Elwood leading, Bourne and Beckner is now the cut line, and Slaughter's 2 back, sitting in 5th. So he's gonna have to go. This really helped Bourne because he was stuck in 12th. He might be able to get spots here, but Hearn's gonna be behind him as well. This is going to be fun.
This is going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to have just 18 laps to go. It's about 11 minutes worth of racing here from the Worldwide Technology Raceway for the Area Truck Series. Next week, 4 drivers fight for a title. This week, 4 of the 8 are eliminated. Green flag back in the air. Look at the Ford on the inside, trying to get that launch into turn 1.
See what Elwood does. See how turn 1 and 2 looks for the 10. He's clear. Scioli, they're hitting in the background. It looks like, I think Garrett, there's Hearn on the top, but Elwood's clear for the
squeezed. Got squeezed into the wall. There you go.
Mason Kane and Tom Bourne went through him.
I thought we were going to stay green, but we didn't. We're going to get a yellow.
Oh boy.
And as you mentioned, a little bit of Mason Kane has had horrible internet tonight, so that saved the 16. Here's a look.
We'll see. It started at turn 1. Hearn looked to the top 3 wide. And we'll see here. Mason Kane blinks out. That'll probably cause it to. Oh, he hit the wall out of 2 as well.
Ford just wrecked him after that. I mean, I don't know how much it was visible on screen, but man. Ford's making a mess of that tonight.
Yeah, I don't know how much. I mean, in that sense, I don't know how much he saw Mason Kane. They'll see something differently.
Yep.
Bronson Stafford's not happy with him on the radio. I don't know what Mason Kane said, but I'm sure he wasn't happy either. But this helps Elwood, I would say.
Well, when Mason Kane's carrier pigeon lands with his next internet update, we'll let you know. Huh. Yeah, his internet, I'm surprised he's actually held on tonight with how bad it's been. But
there are choice words in chat. Driver chat got disabled. I can't say the choice words, but there are choice words as Garrett Grant will pit here. He is win or bust completely, and he just hasn't had the pace after his spin. But tires, you're shipping the tires to Miami at this point, unless you're at the very back.
Yep, and now we're going to get a restart with probably 13 laps to go or so. And that's going to be very exciting to watch. We're going to step away for a moment. Here's this trailer for the MTech Endurance Series coming to SimTV this October. The Area Truck Series Championship finale is next week, where we eliminate 3 of the 4 competitors and select our champion. But tonight we still got 8 drivers in the playoffs, and 4 of them will go home after tonight. It's been a frantic fight up at the front. James Scioli, Travis Beckner, Cameron Hearn, they were in lockstep having a pretty thrilling battle, but it turned ugly, and some brawls were traded back and forth. The 4 relegated to the back of the field for the restart after a penalty, and since involved in another yellow flag. Now with a restart with 13 laps to go, Connor, it's going to get interesting with Elwood leading, Scioli second, but Elwood on 2 tires, Scioli on 4, and Travis Beckner, who has been one of the dominant drivers in the field, he'll restart on the inside of that second row.
We'll see what he can do. We'll see if he challenges Scioli on this restart, if that gives Elwood the buffer. But this yellow was probably the best thing Elwood could have. He needs probably 1 or 2 more to be in a really much better spot, but we'll see if that happens. We're still going to have Cameron Hearn charging from the back. He got up into, I believe, the 11th position. That cut line is still not in his favor after his aggressive driving. Bourne and Beckner both moved up a spot. They stay tied on the cut line as it runs. Scioli's in no matter what at this point with 30 to the good. Brad Slaughter Jr. sitting in 5th. He's going to need to do something no matter what. He's going to have to somehow fight his way to the front if that 10 wins.
Oh boy, well, it all comes down to this, 13 laps. Could we get more yellows? Absolutely. Could we go green to the end? Absolutely. But all we know right now is that up front, it's Elwood and Scioli, 2 different tire strategies. The 10, kind of in a must-win. The 7, pretty well clear of the cut line, but Beckner really needs a good result, and he certainly can't have that 10 truck win this race. So everybody up front really in a fight somehow, some way. The only exception to that is Justin Munsell, who is eliminated from the playoffs pretty early on. But here comes the pace car. 13 laps to go from Worldwide Technology Raceway. Field dwindling down to 15 runners. Here we go. Back in the air is the green flag, and a nice good launch from the 10, and the 28 will follow.
2-3 wide in the back. Mitchell and Anna Sogak just kind of moved over in the back, and the side-by-side battles for second. And look at the 28 charge, trying to clear that 7. Not going to quite get it.
No, and I think he's going to can't give it up yet, but
no, he can't. And have no choice. But this is exactly what Elwood wants. Those 2, second and third's the best thing he can see.
Oh, the 28 drove in there really hard. 4 is
Elwood really struggled.
Oh boy,
Elwood really struggled turn 4. That's going to be his downfall. Beckner's going to get under him.
Down the front straightaway. Here comes Munsell in the mix. What could a win mean for him? Certainly not playoff contention, but a win this late would be a great way to maybe. Oh, he's gonna look out! Everybody's skittering and scattering out of the exit of turn 2. Beckner sees clear track ahead.
What will Scioli do? Will he shove him into turn 3 here? Even so close to the bumper, I don't think Elwood can fight. Does he hit? Elwood there. They banged doors for a second, but this is Elwood's playoff hopes, his championship hopes dwindling here. Beckner to the lead.
Scioli slots into second. He's clear. Elwood seeing his opportunity slip away. Cameron Hearn slicing and dicing in the background now. 11 laps to go.
Brad Slaughter stayed 5th, so nothing going his way right now. Oh, Tom Bourne, that's Tom Bourne losing spots.
Down to 10th place. He's going to lose another 11th, maybe even 12th.
Slaughter's going for 4th on Elwood right now, so that could be key. Munsell is pressuring Scioli, and that's another thing that Beckner will want to see.
Beckner just wants this race to go green now, I think.
Oh,
Ooh.
Elwood in the wall.
Yep, check there.
Hearn's going 3 wide.
Is that going to work? I don't see it working. Wineland in the middle has to bail.
No choice but to do that, but Cameron Hearn might still make this work somehow.
Oh,
Elwood sliding. Oh, in the wall again. Cameron Hearn's going to get another spot out of that. That's going to be, I think, 5th out of all this.
Elwood seeing his championship hopes slip away. Now the wild card here is what happens if that 4 gets back up to the front again.
Say your prayers, Travis Beckner, even though he was only got spun. But that is not what Tom Bourne needed. Now he's battling for 11th, just trying to get back into the mix. This is, I can't say I'm surprised it got this wild, but it is nowhere near over yet. Will Munsell do if he gets to the bumper of Beckner?
I don't know that he's in a position where, you know, I wouldn't know Munsell to go up there and just turn Beckner around, but he's certainly going to fight if he's got the pace to do so.
He's hungry for a win. He, for lack of a better term, kind of got screwed at Talladega out of the playoffs. He's just looking for redemption at this point. He's had so many good finishes, still looking for that win as he runs second. Scioli sliding in third. Brad Slaughter Jr., look at the banging doors here. That was Senesac and Stafford.
Yeah, Stafford got just checked across the racetrack there. Mason Kane bobbling a little bit. Not sure what his ping is because his internet's not been holding on tonight, but you don't like to see that going into a corner.
No, you don't. Oh, boy. Tom Bourne back up to 10th. That's big for him. Still trying to scrap points back together. He's still up by 2 as it runs over Slaughter and Cameron Hearn.
Justin Munsell is laser focused on the tailpipes of that 28 truck right now. Not a championship hunt, but a win would heal so much.
So situation right now, Bourne has 2 over Slaughter and Hearn. Elwood and Grant out of the picture. It's Bourne, Slaughter, and Hearn. Slaughter's going to need 2 positions for it to go to a tiebreaker, and it's going to take a lot to get those 2 positions, and Cameron Hearn's obviously in the same scenario right now.
It's going to come down to the wire. 6 to go. Well, Munsell's
Slaughter,
there.
He's on his bumper. He did not hit him, though.
The focus on his face tells the whole story. Wipe the sweat off the brow and refocus.
Elwood slipping back to 9th. That could be another spot for that 16 of Tom Bourne.
It's a big mess around the 16 right now. Another spot there, and then the 09 of Senesac is in his sights as well. I don't know if he knows how dire the situation is. He must know it is with the 28 up front.
I think he knows he has to go no matter what. Whoa, Weishart almost had a slide. It was the 29 in the wall in turn number 1.
Yeah, Weishart way up out of the groove. This is gonna, all these positions behind him, hungry for more.
Mason Kane, even with his internet battling Bourne hard for this spot, he blinks out again. Oh, Elwood gives the bumper. He's just struggling for grip. I really don't think he meant to do that, but at the front, Munsell looking to the inside of Beckner.
Here he comes, Justin Munsell. Not in playoff contention, but could certainly shake things up. To the inside of the 28. They touch.
Oh, he hit him!
The 28 out of the groove.
Oh, that's going to change everything. Scioli to second. Here comes Slaughter. Beckner blocks him. He's going to get turned again. What a save, and they're both in the grass. Cameron Hearn passes them both, and now Scioli's going for the lead.
Wow. Drama with 4 laps to go. Scioli retakes the lead away from Munsell, but it's not clear yet.
Both side by side. I can't believe Cameron Hearn's gotten back up to 3rd in the thick of this as Slaughter.
Turn 1.
Slide job there by Scully, just took it from him with coming to three. This time is 3 to go.
Oh, it's getting messy out there. The gloves are off. Nobody's raced each other with relative respect since about lap 50. Here comes Munsell again with a big lunge.
See if he has anything left to fight with this right now. I think he'll be respectful to Scully, but also how much does he want this win? How hard will he race someone? He races with respect for the win. Almost gives him a hip check coming to 2 to go.
2 laps left. Munsell has the advantage over Scioli. That outside line, though, not a bad place to stick. Gonna run him up the hill.
Oh, boy.
And Cameron Hearn's gonna have a big head of steam, but he didn't get turn 1 right.
I don't think he'll have enough time to get there, but as it runs, the tiebreaker, Hearn's in, Bourne and Beckner tied on the cut line after all that drama.
Through 3 and 4, coming to the white flag. Munsell's going to lose this.
Not quite.
Oh, he sticks to the outside. Last lap. Down into turn 1. Scioli leads. Munsell throws it in on the outside.
Scully's just trying to clear him out of the corner. That's what he needs. He's going to get it, but he's going to slide. Here comes Munsell.
Yeah, it's in Munsell's control now. Down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. Justin Munsell eliminated from the playoffs now, fighting for his case that he should have been here. Should have been in it, fighting for a championship. Last corner. He's going to have to throttle up and take it away if he wants it. Here they come. Checkered flag waves. Out of turn 4. Banging doors. Who's going to get it? It's going to be Scioli.
Scioli. What a finish right there. Hearn gets 3rd. Hearn, I believe, will be in. And Beckner and Bourne are going to end up tied on the cut line after all that.
Wow.
Let's see. I will not be surprised if we see hitting after the line. I think Slaughter kind of gave him a swerve. There is a lot to unpack there, but you could see the gap there. Hearn gets in by 1 point over that tie for 4th, and you'll have to wait to break the tiebreakers out, but for now it's fireworks for Scioli, going into Homestead with yet another win.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll say. My goodness, what a chaotic finish. What a chaotic race.
And Travis Beckner, got a feel for him a little bit, Connor. I don't think he did a lot wrong tonight, but he got wronged a lot tonight. And I know that he's been on the other end of that quite a bit, but man, it was a rough night out there for him.
And I'm sure he'll remember that, whether he's in or not. I believe the first, just trying to think, the first tiebreaker is, I believe, wins. So Tom Bourne, as long as our count's official, with Beckner having that 1 win on the season, that might be Tom Bourne's season done with that cut line tiebreaker. And Brad Slaughter, it looked like he might have been able to get those points, but that contact out of turn 2, it was just wild. That was absolutely a game changer.
Yeah, that was crazy. Let's have a look at the results here of the race. Scioli, Munsell, Hearn, Beckner, Wineland, your top 5. Eric Wineland sneaking in there amongst all the chaos. Then Slaughter Jr., Weishart, Senesac, Kane, and Greg Mitchell, the rest of your top 10. And here's a look at the rest of them, Connor, but they were not the story.
Tom Bourne just lost 2. He got up to 9th, but started to fall back at the end of that run. Just did not have the speed. Elwood on 2 tires. Could not fight for very long. And Garrett Grant, first lap, a lot of damage early on. But yeah, like you said, these guys were not the main story. They were just kind of a part of it. We saw drama from lap 1 all the way down to the checkered flag. Incredible.
Well, let's talk with Cameron Hearn. Sparks flew everywhere tonight, Cameron. But you drove through the field a couple of times to come back for a 3rd place result. And with that,
he's in here.
Well, thought I had him. Cameron Hearn finished 3rd tonight. Sparks flying everywhere this evening. And on your run to the finish through the field a couple of times, you come home in 3rd and unofficially in to the Final 4. Let's unpack it.
So, you probably won't believe this, but this is the honest truth. When James and Travis, I know they have history, they have beef. They raced each other really hard in turn 1 and 2. I passed them, and I felt bad racing like that and getting an easy win, or I don't know if I'd win the race, but out front of those guys, right? So my goal after that was let them go by and race them fair and square. I knew me and Travis were racing for points and stuff like that, and I rode behind him for maybe 20, 25 laps. I made a couple moves on the inside, and I felt like he gave me no room at all. So I made my mind. I said, okay, well, I'm gonna start just bumping him, and got him loose, got by him, and then he hit me probably twice as hard as I hit him, and then after that it was on from there. And I hate to say it, my emotions got a little bit of the best of me. I saw him sideways, and instead of letting him gather back up, I said, well, I'm just going to keep going. And when it happened, I thought my season was over. Dumb move, wasn't smart at all, but just one of those things. I try to race the guys clean and fair. I felt like it's a short track. Sometimes you got to use the bumper to get by people, which people have their own opinion about that, but I tried to race as fair as I could and hard, and I feel like I really didn't get it back once I got positioned on him. So I hate that he missed a cut, though. He was bad fast all night. It's probably one of his better tracks, but I think what you saw tonight at the end is a lot of people's frustrations of stuff that happened all season, and that's kind of things you have to remember, and I got to look out for next week, when I race around Travis for the championship. So,
well, all things to look at in the forecast, but certainly in the history of the night, it was a wild race. And the first half of the race was excellent between you three. That was some fun racing. It seemed like it was hard to kind of get things rolling, but once the tires started to wear out, it looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was one of those things where being behind somebody, you get the aero tight, and even at this track, you still get the tightness. And so, and that's in the back of your mind too, right? Like, I'm behind this guy. Is he gonna start pulling away from me? But yeah, it's a fun track, fun race. The finish was awesome. I was hoping those guys would go at it in turn 3, but awesome finish. I'm glad to make it in this week into the championship round. And appreciate you guys for the broadcast. Sorry for bringing out a stupid caution racing like that, but this is one of those things. Sometimes you just got to end stuff, and so that's kind of what I did.
Cameron Hearn, third place tonight. We'll be fighting for a championship next week. Cameron, thanks for chatting.
Thank you.
And moving on now to Justin Munsell, who lost this race by 29 thousandths of a second. Justin, I know how much it would have meant to win this race tonight. You gave it everything, and it got a little hands-on up at the front, to say the least. But coming to 3 and 4, you guys raced completely clean on that last lap at least, and came up just short. Take us through that fight with James Scioli.
Yeah, I mean, that whole last run, I was surprised that I was able to maintain speed with, Beckner and Scioli. I mean, you guys saw the entire race. It was pretty much a 3-headed monster the entire race. I was looking at lap times, they were consistently a tenth, maybe a half a tenth faster than I was the entire run. So, on that last restart, when I got by Scioli, I was like, wow, I really have a shot here. And I knew what Beckner was going to do, and he was going to basically siphon off to where I can only run the rumble strips in turn 1, which, theoretically it's a clean move, but it's like I don't have any place to go, and it's there's a little give and take that's needed, kind of what Scioli and I kind of did, and I don't feel like that was the case in that situation. I didn't mean to get into him, but also it. All fair is love and war, He did the same thing to me last season at this very same track, and wrecked me for a win. So, I wouldn't say it's payback, but I think it makes it a little bit more even. But as far as the race with Scioli, I'm just trying my best to get some grip on the tires and the exit of the corners. He kind of got into me a couple times. I got into him a couple times. We didn't wreck. That's the biggest thing. I was just hoping that I can get a little bit more grip in turn 4 as we're coming to that checkered flag, and he just got a little bit more. And it sucks. I mean, I didn't expect to win today. Didn't really have the car for it up until that last run, but when you get that close and try to make a pretty disappointing season, a little bit more brighter, it would have been nice. But guys, it was great racing. I feel like I've done my part putting some good racing in this season, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully the fans enjoyed it. And we'll figure it out next week.
It was a lot of fun to watch, Justin. Just short. Great racing there at the end. Good luck to you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And James Scioli out there tonight. There were times when you were racing side by side and 2 and 3 wide, and then there were times where you were getting leaned on and leaning on people. This was the most hands-on race we've seen here in a while. Your thoughts? First of all, congratulations, but your thoughts on how the racing was tonight, and you're going on Final 4, but it was definitely stressful out there tonight.
Yeah, this was definitely a race that happened. It was I don't even know how to explain it. I got a little bit behind in the first run, just driving in Travis's dirty air, so I let Cameron go, kind of let myself get into my own spot there and just try to save tires. And I was better than them at the end of the run. Just wanted to get on pit road first and try and get the clean air to control and still save my stuff. I knew we still had 50 laps to go to the end, and then come out of the pits and everybody's racing super hard, and Travis gets into my right side door again. Phoenix, Las Vegas, now here. I don't really quite understand. The bottom's completely, like the way bottom lane in 1 and 2 is completely useless. So I feel like I should be given a lane at least somewhat in the middle, and I just don't feel like he really did that. So was able to get clear of him after that, and then I don't know why Cameron let us go. That was another interesting move. Didn't really know what to think of that, but once I got the clean air, I just knew that I just wanted to set sail, and then of course I knew something was going to happen between those two and bring out a yellow. So I was just waiting for it, trying to figure out my strategy if I wanted to take 2 or 4. And then came out second there, saw Elwood on 2, and just tried to put my head down. I wasn't very good on the short run though, so Travis was able to pin me behind Elwood. It was a pretty good move there, and Munsell and him were able to get by me. And I saw Munsell get into Travis quite a bit, so I knew the gloves were kind of off. And the one move that I didn't want to do is I got into his right rear kind of on exit. I was trying to pull a crossover move on him, so I do apologize for that. But other than that, I felt like Munsell and I raced pretty clean. I tried to give as much room as I could, and I always race good with him. I think we're cool. So all in all, a crazy race. Definitely going to be an interesting championship for. There are a lot of people not happy with each other right now, so I'm sure this will be one for the ages. You definitely won't want to miss next week.
Certainly not, and you are not going to miss it either. You're in the Final Four. Congratulations, James, and thanks for chatting.
Thanks, guys. Got to give a huge shout out to you guys in the booth. You guys do a great job. I was watching some of the Miata racing that you guys do before this, and it's just a blast to watch. You guys do a great job capturing all these battles, so I'm excited to go and watch this one as well. Huge shout out to the admin team. They got their work cut out tonight for sure, so appreciate them for sticking around. And then Rick's Hot Sauce, been telling you guys all year, code's got only $7 off. Hopefully we can get this machine in the championship next week. And then huge shout out to Butt Kickers, Thanos Candles, and Chris Sports Cards, and DWR. I think we've completely locked up the team championship now, so now David and I go for the driver championship.
Best of luck to you next week, James. Thanks for chatting.
Thanks, guys.
And while he's here, I think we might as well get the other side of the story while he's chilling out. Travis Beckner, you got a copy, bud?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Travis, I know 4th place tonight, just shy of our normal podium interviews, but I saw you hanging out there, and it certainly got dramatic tonight. I wanted to give you an opportunity to speak about the dramas that you guys had on course tonight and how it might affect next week.
Well, I'm pretty sure I got the tiebreaker on Tom Bourne there, but I had no other choice but to get aggressive this week. I had to. And people might not like it, but I had to. I had no other choice. I mean, congrats to Skyly on the win. Same thing that happened at Las Vegas again, net-coded and about put us both in the outside wall again. But the whole thing with Munsell, like he said last year, I did the same thing that he did to me, but that right there, in my opinion, was more of a racing incident. I got loose and tried to keep it from not getting into Brad, tried to save it, and got into Brad, so that didn't help my case at all. And then the whole thing with Cameron, I was just hard racing. I mean, I can't say anything less, just hard racing.
Travis Beckner, 4th place tonight, and as far as we know, Travis, you are the one to move on. So it's going to make next week very, very interesting, Travis. So congratulations on that at the very least, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, before I go, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Calusa Pines Landscaping, Thompson Pipe Group, Rick's Hot Sauce, Celsius, Area Shop, Black Buffalo, Holster River Machines, BG Creative, Huckett Films, Miller Racing, and y'all taking the time out of your day to come broadcast this race. I had fun, even though I was caught in a lot of controversy.
Caught in a lot of controversy. Travis Beckner, 4th place. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, Connor. Wow. Let's go back and have a look at the last run to the finish. Here is the finish once more. As they came to the stripe, that was the margin of victory. It was a thrilling fight to the end, but it's just amazing how we see it from one perspective and the drivers see it from a completely different one. Cameron Hearn thought he got wronged more, and Travis Beckner thought it was hard racing, so they seem like You know, they're in a place, not the same one I thought they were going to be in, but sometimes that's how it is.
Personally, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of some of those words are just trying to keep a low profile in the next week. But we'll just wait and see what cracks out of this. It's going to be a wild Final Four. You got 3 drivers that we saw tonight in that Final Four that are not going to be racing each other with a lot of respect, if I had to guess. And you got David Weishart. He's going to be chilling. He's done nothing. He's been the guy with some of the most momentum this postseason, but Skyley goes into Homestead a winner, maybe gets that momentum back. So we'll just have to see what happens next week after Cameron Hearn's antics tonight. Will it continue? He has already put in Truck Series chat and Discord, spoiler alert, that he will not win a championship, referring to Beckner. So it's going to be interesting, no doubt about it, when we get to Miami.
Well, it'll be interesting. Miami, the beaches, Homestead, Miami. We'll see you next week for the championship finale. The Area Florida State Builders Pro Series on Thursday is back at Richmond. We'll see you there on Thursday night. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on SimTV.